again, thank you. I think it's very important for you all to see, you see me, but this that's standing behind me are the people that do this work. I would absolutely love to give them a break and give them some rest and a day off, but in reality, they work tirelessly. This display, these folks, there's no start and stop time. They work tirelessly. This particular case, they have worked tirelessly on. They will relentlessly work to pursue those who victimize our community. In 2017, the City Council approved over $10 million for us to invest in a real-time crime center. We use that real-time crime center. Folks that are using weapons in our community, folks that victimize our community will be relentlessly pursued. Every footprint you make, whether it be a social footprint, social media, or a real footprint, we are going to look at. We are going to connect. We're going to connect with every friend, every girlfriend, every boyfriend, your parents, your neighbors, anything that we need to do to determine who's victimizing our community and who's pulling triggers in our community and who's creating havoc in our community, we are going to do. It is the men and women behind me that do that. And I wanted to just make sure that I thank them publicly for their hard work. This case, not unlike many others, but this one in particular was extremely tragic, touched all of us. Happened around Christmas, 29th, a few days after Christmas, and Miss Golden did what any of us would do and take for granted every day. She stopped at a store in her neighborhood on her way home from work. How many of us do that? And unfortunately, she was victimized by someone who had no respect for her, no respect for themselves, no respect for our community, and no respect for life. With that, these teams activated behind me, our partnerships, ATF, FBI, activated. We are here to announce a significant arrest in that homicide that shook our community. I want to again express my condolences to the family of Tracie Golden, who are here and represented here today. And Mr. Golden, I think we all saw his pain. I saw his pain at the funeral and certainly saw his pain displayed in the media. As I indicated, Tracie was a healthcare worker, but more importantly, a mom to Bianca and a wife to her husband, John. The night that she was killed, she was on her way home, as I indicated, from work, stopped at a store right down the street from her home, and no one deserves something this terrible to happen to them. And when you see someone like her, she represents all of us. Innocence, just stopping at a store in our neighborhoods. Before I get into some details of the investigation, again, I'm going to make it clear. We are going to relentlessly, unapologetically pursue people who victimize our community, period. You're not going to outwork us. You're not going to outthink us. We're going to use these partnerships with the FBI, the ATF, U.S. Marshals, our DFAT teams, and we're going to pursue you. Criminals need to make better decisions. They're not going to outthink us. They're not going to outwork us. And that's evident here today. Moving on to the investigation, as I indicated, I think I may have said December 29th, but my notes say on December 28th, in the 19,300 block of Grand River, officers were dispatched to a shooting scene. Officer found Miss Golden suffering from a gunshot wound. She was transported to the hospital where she tragically died from her injuries. Investigators began reviewing video showing the suspect walking towards Miss Golden as she approached her vehicle. As he got closer to her, he pulled a gun. Seconds later, the suspect tragically shot Miss Golden, took her keys, and fled in her vehicle. We released part of a video to our community in hopes of identifying a suspect. And let's play a portion of that video for you now for some context. And as that video starts, I want to thank our community for the tips that came in, the many, many tips that came in. And I want to thank our media partners as well for getting that information pushed out there for us. We could not do this job without our partners and our support. We have purposely edited the video out of respect for the family. Okay, the day after the shooting, the suspect robbed a Family Dollar store on East 7 Mile. The investigators were alerted to that robbery and paid very close attention to a number of different things with regards to that robbery, including the suspect's gait, how he walked. Officers responded to investigate and recovered Ms. Golden's vehicle as evidence. Investigators from the Detroit Police Homicide, Gang Intelligence, and Violent Crime Task Force partnership with the FBI and ATF worked to develop a suspect who was identified. That suspect was identified as Bradley Thurman. On January 13th, our headquarters surveillance unit, again, our headquarters surveillance unit, Tactical Service Section, and the 8th Precinct Special Operations took Bradley Thurman into custody. I want to pause here and thank the prosecutor's office for expeditiously processing this warrant, working with our team on the ground to make sure that the warrant contained to make sure that we did all the work necessary to put the necessary information in the warrant to get it signed. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office has charged him with first-degree murder, felony murder, 5 counts of armed robbery, and 7 counts of felony firearm. He was issued a $4 million cash bond and remanded to the Wayne County Jail. Again, I want to commend the officers for their work in this investigation. I cannot say it enough. We would not have been able to take the suspect into custody without our real-time crime center, our analysts, and our officers, our investigators, our detectives that simply cared enough to look at everything, every robbery, every situation that we had in this city, things that I'm not even at liberty to talk to you about, to connect the dots on this case. Just a whole lot of hard work from the men and women of this department. Again, they did very important work to help identify the suspect. At this time, I'm going to bring up our federal partners just to say a couple words about the partnership.
Thank you, Chief White, and thank you for your presence and incredible leadership of this department. It's really inspiring to watch you guide this city to a better tomorrow. I'm Devin Kowalski. I'm an Assistant Special Agent in charge with the FBI Detroit. I'm responsible for our violent crimes programs. Mr. Golden, our hearts are with you and your family. This is a terribly violent, senseless, random act that nobody should ever have to endure. The combined interagency response to this heinous murder undoubtedly prevented additional acts of violence in our communities by this offender. Our mission is to protect people, and our Violent Crimes Task Force at FBI Detroit works relentlessly to support our partners and disrupt violent offenders. The task force leverages the full resource portfolio of the FBI. Simply put, we will not spare any expense or resources to find individuals that commit violent acts. Our task force is comprised of special agents and analysts from our FBI office, as well as law enforcement officers from Detroit, Dearborn, Livonia, Northville, Wayne State University, Michigan State Police, Michigan Department of Corrections, and the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. I want to thank our task force participants for giving us the resources, especially during a time when it's incredibly difficult for departments to retain and recruit officers. I commend the hard work and the integrated, selfless efforts by the women and men standing behind me of DPD, as well as ATF and the Violent Crimes Task Force, to find the facts and deliver some sense of justice to Mr. Golden and your family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir, if you want to come up, please.
Once again, I'm Craig Calamai, Acting Special Agent in Charge for ATF Detroit. First of all, we do want to send the condolences out to the family for this senseless murder. And just to reassure the community that ATF, the men and women of ATF, stand behind the Detroit Police Department. We're always working together in the communities, especially when it comes to violence with firearms. And it's just a tragic event, and we just want to reassure the community that we are here in support of the police department, and we'll always be behind the scenes working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Certainly to the Golden family, we know that this doesn't represent closure. I don't know if these types of things ever truly close, but we hope that you have some degree of peace knowing that we have identified a perpetrator for this heinous act. To our partnerships, thank you. We could not do it without you. This administration is about collaboration. It's not about who gets the credit. I already know I've got the hardest working men and women in the country standing behind me. So we want to work with anyone that's going to help us eradicate violence from our community. So we will reach out to the FBI, the ATF, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and get you as much time as we can possibly get you for the crimes that you commit, if that's your desire. So with that, I take any questions that you all may have.
Thank you for the time, Chief. Mr. Golden, again, our sincere condolences to you and your family at this time. Chief, can you give us more details? Sean Lay from Channel 4. How was he arrested? Was his dad driving him when you guys got him?
My investigators have asked me to stay high level with the case until, and I have to do that to respect that. We don't want to damage the investigation. But I will tell you this, hard work from detectives, investigators, analysts, that really pulled this thing together. We don't want to be here. We wish we didn't have to be here, but the circumstances put us here. So I'm very proud of their work that they were able to bring this person to custody.
Working alone, or is anyone else under investigation?
The investigation continues. I don't think that we're ready to declare that we've got every answer to every question yet. But we have enough to charge and submit charges as we have on the suspect that we have in custody, but they continue to work.
Chief, almost a year, tragic case, Zion Foster, extensive, exhaustive, dangerous search. Where does that stand now? Again,
you've got members of this department that volunteered their entire summer to dig at a literal dump site and look for her. That case is still wide open. We think we've got a strong suspect for that case. There's a lot of work to be done, and we're going to continue to do that work. It's a sad, tragic, again, unnecessary event that happened in our community, and we should all be appalled. But we're here, and we know that she's no longer with us, and we know we're pretty confident who's good for that unfortunate and heinous act. But the investigators have a lot of work to do with the prosecutor on that case.
Keeping us to 3, and my colleagues want to ask, but with that, the suspect you have in that, can you go back around and talk to him, or does he not have to talk to you guys?
They're talking to him. Our detectives are constitutionally doing everything they can to talk to him, investigate him, visit with him, to make sure that we get what we need to charge that case the way it needs to be charged, or at least submit charges so that it can be charged. But there's a lot to it that I can't go into right now, but they are relentless. And as I indicated, this is not a threat. This is just a reality. We will look at everything. We will look at the people you hang out with, the places you hang out, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever we have to identify who you are, we're going to do it. Your digital footprints, your literal footprints, we're going to do everything we can, because we're not going to just sit back and let people victimize people like Miss Golden and this beautiful family who no longer have her with them. Just days after she had hosted, a holiday event at her home and went to work. That's all she did. She just went to work.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Simon Shaquette, Channel 7. Chief, you talked about Bradley Thurman being a danger even in the hours in the day that followed Miss Golden's senseless murder. What was he doing at that Family Dollar?
Well, we think he was robbing it. I mean, that's what we think he was doing, and he dropped her car. So he hadn't stopped, and oftentimes people that commit these types of acts, they don't just rehabilitate themselves, which is why I'm very happy to see a $4 million bond on this person, right? Because he's killed once, he's robbed once, allegedly, right? I mean, or innocent until proven guilty, but the allegations that we have and the warrant that we've submitted, we're very strong and confident with, and he likely would have done it again.
And if possible, question for Mr. Golden, if you would come to the podium just to talk about what it means to you to see this coalition and the work that was done in order to make this arrest, if you're able to share that.
What was the question again?
What it means to you to see this coalition come together, working tirelessly to make that arrest, to bring him to justice.
It means everything to me and our family. I mean, I know they've been working since December 28th up until this point. Greatly appreciate everybody that had a hand in it. But like the chief said, it ain't over. It's not over. And I will never have closure because my angel is not here. Never. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Jessica Dupnack, Fox 2. Chief, any idea on motive? Did the suspect give any indication as to why he did this or allegedly did this?
I'll give you something high level. Sarge, you want to just talk high level moment?
So he did, the suspect did talk. We do have indication of a motive. I can't really get into it, like I said, because the investigation is still continuing at this time, but he did give an idea of why he did what he did.
In the beginning, we talked about this being a random situation. Was he targeting Tracie Golden? Or was he watching her? Or
No, this was 100% spur of the moment incident. It was not targeted to her at all.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
Just one last question. John Hewitt, WWJ. Just for clarity, when was the suspect actually taken into custody? Was there surveillance prior to, or was it an immediate arrest, or any details you can give?
There was a lot that went into it. It was surveillance. It was surveillance before he was taken down. I think the actual date he was. Sarge, you know the day off the top of your head? Or I can look it up. 13th. On the 13th.
I'm sorry, are you able to provide any, was he at a residence or where or any?
He was taken down on the street, sir. But we did surveillance. We knew where he was. We had an eye on him. And once he started moving, when they found it safe to take him down without putting anybody at risk, that's what they decided to do at that time.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you all.